right, class. Welcome, Nursing 520, Clinical Informatics. All right, week 3. This week we're going to be looking at chapters 4 and 5, and we have our case study due, okay? So really important that we look at that case study ahead of time if you have not already, okay? Because technology, I love case studies, they're so much fun. So make sure we're looking at our case study ahead of time and preparing for it, getting your resources, getting everything that we need for it. All right. So our case study for this week, number 1 is safety implications of software in patient care. And one of my favorites is the Glucomander. So if you're not familiar with Glucomander, you need to take a minute before you start this case study and look at what Glucomander is, and just familiarize yourself with it, okay? And then dig in and answer those questions, all right? I would like to discuss on our next Zoom the case study. I understand it's not due, but we can still kind of start that discussion about it because it's pretty interesting. All right, so looking at chapter 4, we got human factors in computing. Okay, so what are you thinking about? So some of our learning objectives, all right, is ergonomics associated with concepts, importance of understanding human factors in our healthcare settings, know the key international organization, iOS standards for ergonomic principles, comprehend the influence of work systems, and in analyzing information systems and computer apps with regard to human-computer interactions. All right, so those are some of the key takeaways, right? And so we are looking at humans and computers. Now we know they're different, right? No matter how you look at it, a computer is never going to compare to a person. So, sorry, I've been talking all morning. All right, so we need to be able to, can computers recognize problems as effective as humans? Okay, so these are some of the things we want to be thinking about. Okay. And what about what influences our work conditions? Okay, stuff like that. So these are some of the things we're going to be thinking about in this chapter. All right, so again, humans can recognize problems, combine that knowledge, and come up with a process to hopefully fix the problem, so on and so forth, right? Computers, they can process data quickly, right? Extract information, right? Because take a research article, because we've all done it, right? You have your research article and you're like, shoot, did that research article cover A, B, or C, right? Whatever you want it to be. But you couldn't remember exactly. So instead of rereading the whole entire research article again, or even skimming it, what do? We go up to the little find button and we say find, and we put in that word we're looking for, and it'll say, 27 of those words are in that research article, and then you can skip to where you're looking at. So that was quick data, right? Finding. So those are some things we need to be thinking about, okay? All right, another word, ergonomics. Is the systematic study of all aspects of human activity as it relates to work. Okay, so ponder that for a minute. Ergonomics is the systematic study of all aspects of human activity as it relates to work. What does that mean? So ergonomics is another word for human factors. right? Systematic study of all aspects of human activity. So the factors that we have does relate to how we work. What happens if you're in a workplace that's very stressful? Is that a factor that's going to increase your stress level? All right, so just certain things we should be thinking about, all right? Does it affect your productivity, your quality and efficiency, right? And can we improve it by applying this ergonomic production process? Can we lower costs, all right? Oops. Okay, there we go. I lost my note page. Hold on 1 second. Computer started being some wonky on me for some reason. All right, so again, human factors, broad spectrum, we're all different, right? That affects our work. So I'm going to share a little story. It does not have to relate to technology, but I want you to think about it. Let me get to my page. My computer decided to move. Didn't want it to. Okay. All right. So again, not related in that aspect to technology, but I'm going to share the story. And it's a true story, but I want you to think about it of how it human factors, okay? And it can, does play a role with our work. So there was a time I was teaching a class and we were in person, and but I didn't get sleep for, it wasn't consistent sleep for like a month, right? Up at night for some, personal reasons, so on. So didn't get the required amount of sleep that I like. So in that aspect, I normally go to the gym in the morning. So I was not going to the gym, all right? So wasn't sleeping, wasn't going to the gym. Do you think I was teaching effectively? Okay, because I function so much better, me personally, when I get 7 hours of sleep, I'm one of those people, and go to the gym. Your day just sets up, the whole 9 yards. So thinking about that, again, I know it's not IT related, but my class that I was teaching was like, Professor Richardson, we need to end class, let's work on a case study, and you need to go to the gym. Because my physical and psychological was not up to par, and my teaching was very, when you don't get enough sleep, you're short, you're snappy. I wasn't teaching as much as, having fun. I was because I was tired, right? And I didn't work out. So they were like, okay, go to the gym. And I did. It made us realize that and those are human factors. My human factors is I like to work out and I like good sleep, quality sleep. And when I wasn't getting them, it does play a role on our work. So take that, just thinking of that in aspect. Again, I know it's not related to this class, but I just want us to think about that in that aspect, okay? That it does affect the productivity, no matter how we look at it. I wasn't producing the education that I would normally produce when I am, up to par with lifestyle. All right, just some things to be thinking about. Okay. All right, areas of economics, physical, physical. I am not saying that word no more. Organizational and cognitive. All right, so standards, laws, and recommendations and study guides. International Organization of Standards and laws. We have laws for everything. Ooh, fun stuff, right? When you think about it. All right. So one of the things we want to be looking at when it comes to organization, we got physical, we got personal, and then you have your organization. When it comes to your organizational factors or ergonomics, all right, if we want to have optimization at work, what what are some key things? What would be some of the things you would say would cause, would be part of organizational ergonomics? All right. Let's see if I don't. Okay. All right. Standards, laws, and recommendations. So these are just some your laws. All right. Ergonomics of the human system. Okay, comprehensive collection of recommendations regarding the design of the workplace. All right. So, organization of work. Okay, your systematic organizations and design of workflow under consideration of task specific, content specific, and time specific. Okay, so take those and break them down. Task specific, content specific, and time specific. What do those three things mean to you? And we're going to talk about them in our next Zoom. So kind of break it up in, we're not presenting anything, we're just going to discussion. So talking about task specific, content specific, and time specific. All right. Okay. Again, still talking about our standards, laws, recommendations, task design. All right. Design of activity, design of work environment, temperature, humidity, air circulation, and heat. We already know what happens if it's too hot or too cold, or the lighting, people get headaches, noise level, if noise is too loud, we have more errors. Can we think? I like to sit at the coffee shop and study, but sometimes when it gets too crowded, and unless I'm listening to something, I gotta leave because it's just too distracting if I'm trying to study and read. So, especially like a research article that's more in depth. So, these things do play a role when we think about it. All right, and again, hardware ergonomics, software ergonomics, user interface. Okay, again, we don't think about that, but we're talking IT, technology, but design of the workplace and workstation. Thinking about how we present ourselves, thinking about how we need to be thinking about this also as professionals, but also as students. Okay, so I want us to think about that. How do you set yourself up for success? All right. Okay, so posture makes a big difference, right? So even in no matter what we're doing, posture plays a role. If you posture yourself for an online class or a class to be in all day, and you're kind of in that lax mode, with your feet up on the couch, you're not going to retain a lot of that information. And during COVID, when I was teaching and the whole day was online, like just like this, on Teams, and everybody was on Teams, it made a big difference on how I taught the material and how everybody received the material based on our posture. So just think about that, and it goes for all our workplaces. Posture makes a big difference, and posture could be a lot, so just kind of thinking about that in all aspects, okay? Not even just, okay? Average body size of the design of the workstation, again, what does it look like? How is it? I know when I have my, like when we did our Zoom, I do have the lizard right behind me. I do apologize for that. She's blurred out now. I don't know why this does it, but if that's distracting, you guys have to let me know. Sometimes she does go a little bonkers and she tries to get out of the cage, and that may be, but other than that, she usually just sits there. So, but that would be one thing. I could just shut the lights off if it does glare back, because sometimes I don't think about it sitting in this position compared to your position. So again, just take into consideration your workstation, right? I used to, close the doors if my video was showing them. I personally, and I don't know if it's just my age, I honestly, I'm not sure, but I know how when for Zoom and Teams, you can kind of do the blur background. I don't like it. I don't like the way it affects. I got nothing on that one. So that's why I don't blur it out. I rather just like move everything out of the camera view, other than the lizard, because she's too heavy and I ain't moving that cage every time, you know. But I do try. Every now and then I will forget. So just think about that when you're talking about your workstations and how we setting her up and how we're setting up and posturing. I know I went a little on a tangent on that one. I apologize. All right, visual displays. Size of the screen must conform to the task. So yes, I have an iPad. So these are just things that we should be thinking about, right? Color coding, stuff like that. All right. Take a minute. All right. So these are some more standards and laws. Dialogue is an interaction between a user and an interactive system to achieve a goal based on the input and output. There was something else I was going to say. Give me a minute. Okay, have a brain lapse. All right, it'll probably come to me. All right. Okay, information processing. All right. So, time available, competing, environmental stimuli. How much attention is paid to information depends on. So if I did an hour and a half lecture and you had to sit here and listen to it, I probably lose you halfway. So that's why usually I'll try to do 2 30-minute ones, because after 30 minutes we need to get up and move, right? So that does make a big difference, right? So when you are, and that makes a big difference when we're using our technology for things. All right. So just some more different multi-store model and memory we only have. So here, I like this one right here. Can cause humans, our perception, can cause humans to make errors when they see what they expect to see. So have you ever written like you talk? We all do it when we text, right? So that does make a difference, because we say things, or when you start writing papers and we read it and you read what you thought you typed, and then when you read it out loud you realize you've missed a word or two, right? I know I'm not the only one that does that, so don't try to think I am. All right. Information processing, selective grouping of information facilitates retention by the user and assists in the learning process. Tasks should not be too complex due to the limited capacity of the working memory. All right, and complex tasks can be solved only when feedback is received at regular intervals, about the completion, the attained interim goal, next action can be planned. All right, so when we're thinking about that, all right, so this is really just all about our human factors, ergonomic principles relevant to the nurses' computers and other medical technology. All right, we want to be able to bring everything together, and your human factors are only as good as our computers, and our computers are only as good as our human factors. So they have to align. If one is here, the other one is here, we're not going to have that occur, correct? And there was something else I wanted to say.